Most of us think we're doing all the right things to get ready for the future. We go to school, we climb the corporate ladder, we get the right certifications. But what if all of that hard work, all that preparation, is for a future that isn't even coming? Just let that sink in for a second. The skills you're learning, the strategies you're using, your entire mindset, it might be based on a world that's already gone. It's a pretty powerful and, yeah, kind of terrifying thought. So, what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, it looks like studying for skills that were cutting edge in 1998. It's chasing these so-called stable jobs that are about as secure as a sandcastle in a hurricane. It's pouring all your energy into career paths where the very foundations are crumbling as we speak. And it means fine-tuning your life for systems that are collapsing in real time. I mean, perfecting routines that won't survive the next big tech wave, competing in professional games that are about to be completely automated out of existence. But here's the real trap. People feel safe doing this stuff. That false sense of security, that warm, fuzzy feeling of the familiar, that is the real danger. It's the thing that's blinding us to just how fast and how huge the change that's already here really is. So, why is this happening to so many of us? Well, it really comes down to this fundamental mismatch. Our brains, they evolved for a world that was slow, predictable, linear. But we are now living smack dab in the middle of an age of instant exponential change. And that conflict, it's causing absolute chaos. Now, this isn't a divide between smart and dumb people, not at all. It's a cognitive divide. As you can see here, the linear thinkers, they dismiss AI as hype. They're waiting for things to go back to normal. But the exponential thinkers, they see the bigger picture. System shocks, automation that's not going away, and institutions that are starting to buckle. They're not just speaking a different language, they are literally seeing a different reality. Here's a really great way to think about this whole thing. Imagine our civilization is like a giant operating system. Our psychology, our schools, our governments, they're all just part of this OS. And right now, we have a massive compatibility problem. Our human software is slow, it's cautious, it evolved for stability. Technology software, it's lightning fast and built for disruption. Okay, let's break this down. Imagine humanity is running on this old, clunky operating system. Let's call it Western OS 1970. It was fine for its time. It worked. But reality is trying to force this massive upgrade to future OS 2030, an OS built on AI and exponential speed. So what happens when you try to run brand new software on ancient hardware? You get a system-wide crash. And that crash, that's the chaos, the confusion, and the institutional failure we're seeing all around us today. This system crash isn't just happening on some grand societal level. No, it's forcing a choice on every single one of us. It's creating what you could call a great divide. And which side of that divide you land on is pretty much going to determine your entire future. Look, this isn't me being pessimistic, it's just pattern recognition. History shows us this pattern again and again and again. The printing press, the Industrial Revolution, the internet, every single time you get two groups. You get the people who see the shift coming and adapt early, and then you get the people who just cling to the old rules until it's way too late. And the difference between them isn't intelligence, it's something else entirely. This really lays out the two mindsets perfectly. The old world rewarded the rule follower, right? The person who followed instructions, asked for permission, and relied on some big institution for their security. The problem is, machines can now follow rules better, faster, and way cheaper than any human ever could. The future belongs to the builder, the person who experiments, who understands how systems work, and who just acts without waiting for a green light. They don't just play the game, they're busy building a new one. So if that old toolkit is basically obsolete, what replaces it? How do you actually prepare for this new reality? Well, it comes down to a whole new kind of survival kit, one that's not based on what you know, but on who you can become. To really thrive in this next era, you need these three essential traits: identity flexibility, personal leverage, and rapid learning. Let's start with what's probably the most difficult one. First up is identity flexibility. This is the big one. This is the ability to not be defined by your job title, or your college degree, or your past accomplishments. See, most people cling to the identity they spent years building, but the future belongs to those who are willing to tear themselves down and rebuild, to become someone totally new, and to do it over and over again without falling apart. Next, we've got personal leverage. We all grew up thinking that stability comes from working for a big company. That's an illusion now. True stability today comes from the things that you personally own and control. High-demand skills, a powerful network, a personal brand that pulls in opportunities, assets that work for you while you sleep. If your entire life depends on one employer, you are incredibly fragile. Leverage is the only real antidote to that. And finally, adaptability. This is really the engine that drives everything else. In a world that's accelerating this fast, your past experience matters less every single day. Your degree matters less. What matters is your speed of learning. Can you absorb new ideas, unlearn old habits, and relearn new skills faster than the world makes your old ones obsolete? Honestly, that is the single most valuable metaskill of the 21st century. And I have to stress this isn't some far-off abstract future we're talking about here. The window to make this shift is closing so much faster than most people realize. This is, without a doubt, a race against time. The biggest blind spot people have right now is the timeline. People hear about AI and they think, okay, cool, I've got a good 5, maybe 10 years to figure this out. That is a massive, massive miscalculation. The disruption isn't coming. It's already here. The shift has begun. Early adopters are going to dominate their fields, and the late adopters, they're going to get replaced. That's not a prediction. It's just what's happening right now. Now, of course, this is speculative, but it's an informed forecast based on the trends we're seeing right now. Just look at how close these dates are. We're talking about massive labor displacement potentially starting in just a couple of years, peak cultural chaos by 2030. The people who are getting their heads around this now are the ones who are going to navigate that chaos and actually help build the new institutions that come out of it. Those who are just waiting for things to, quote, go back to normal, they're going to be completely lost. So, it all comes down to this one question. The future isn't something that just happens to us. It's being actively built right now by people who aren't waiting for permission. So you have to decide, are you going to be a spectator, just clinging to a world that's already gone? Or are you going to be a builder and help shape the one that's coming? The choice is yours, but the clock is ticking.